In 1922, archaeologist Leonard Woolley uncovered something impossible in the royal tombs of Ur. Buried alongside Sumerian kings were lapis lazuli tablets carved with coordinates. Not just any coordinates. These mapped locations that should not exist. Places the Sumerians had no ships to reach, no technology to discover. Yet there they were, precise down to the degree, marking sites across oceans they supposedly never crossed. What Woolley found wasn't decorative art. It was a navigation system. The tablets depicted 7 locations, each marked with a different gemstone symbol. Lapis for deep water, carnelian for shallow coastal zones, agate for river deltas. The Sumerians weren't just traders acquiring pretty stones from Afghanistan and India. They were using those stones as a mapping code, a system to record destinations their civilization officially never reached. Here's what makes this disturbing. 3 of those coordinates point to underwater sites discovered only in the last 40 years. Sites that match the gemstone classifications exactly. Pavlopetri off the Greek coast, Atlit Yam near Israel, Thonis-Heracleion at the Nile Delta, all submerged, all matching Sumerian tablet markings from 2600 BCE. The British Museum has 16 of these tablets locked in restricted archives. When researchers requested access in 1998, they were told the artifacts required preservation. 25 years later, still no public examination. Still no explanation for how Bronze Age Mesopotamians mapped cities that wouldn't sink for another 1,000 years, or cities that were already underwater when they made the maps. Because the depth markings on those tablets suggest something academic consensus refuses to address. The Sumerians weren't predicting where cities would sink. They were recording where civilizations already existed beneath the surface. Trade routes to Ur brought lapis from Afghanistan, carnelian from India. Materials traveling thousands of miles through networks we're told didn't exist yet. But what if those trade routes went further than scholars admit? What if some of them went down? The gemstone system wasn't just for land-based cities. It was designed to mark vertical depth. The tablets included measurements. Cubit depths converted to modern metrics placed several markers at pressures no human diver could survive without equipment the Sumerians didn't have. Yet the detail level suggests direct observation. Stone composition analysis, architectural notes, even tidal pattern records for sites now 200 feet down. In 2003, marine archaeologists exploring Pavlopetri found something that shouldn't exist. Carved into submerged foundation stones were symbols matching Woolley's tablets. The same geometric patterns, the same gemstone indicators. But Pavlopetri sank around 1000 BCE. The Sumerian tablets depicting it were carved 16 centuries earlier. Either the Sumerians had prophetic abilities or they were documenting a world already underwater. The 4th location marked on the tablets has never been officially explored. It sits in the Persian Gulf, marked with obsidian, the symbol for volcanic glass. Sonar surveys from 1994 show a geometric anomaly at that exact coordinate. Walls, structures, something built before the Gulf flooded 10,000 years ago. The survey was classified, the coordinates removed from public databases. What were the Sumerians really trading for? Lapis from Afghanistan makes sense. Carnelian from India follows known routes. But why did they need a depth-based mapping system for stones that came from mountains? Unless the stones weren't the destination, unless they were the key to reading maps that pointed somewhere else entirely, somewhere that required knowing exactly how deep to go. The gemstone tablets weren't trade records. They were nautical charts for a civilization that wasn't supposed to have deep water navigation. Charts marking cities that exist in places we're only now developing technology to properly explore. And the symbols suggest something more unsettling. Several sites are marked with annotations in proto-cuneiform. Roughly translated, they don't say trade port or allied city. They say still active, still functioning. As if whoever made these maps expected those underwater locations to remain operational long after the tablets were buried. That's what they're really hiding in those museum archives. The tablets in the British Museum aren't being preserved. They're being buried. Again. Because if the Sumerians really did map underwater cities that were already inhabited when Ur was at its height, then everything we think we know about human civilization is wrong. The timeline collapses, the narrative breaks, and we have to face the possibility that Bronze Age merchants weren't just trading gemstones across continents. They were following maps to places that existed long before Sumer itself, places that might still be down there, marked with obsidian and lapis and carnelian, waiting for someone to finally ask the right question. Not where did the Sumerians get their gemstones, but where did those gemstone maps tell them to go?